Hi there, my name is Dan, and this is my weekly comic video where I show off new comics that I might have picked up over the last week and show off some of the things I've read in the hopes of maybe turning people on to cool things that they didn't know about or steering them away from things that they shouldn't waste their time on. I'm by no means a qualified reviewer, but I'm going to sit here and show some comics and give you my thoughts on them and, mainly just show off the art. Starting out, we have got a nice looking stack from this week's releases, and the one I'm actually the most excited about is surprisingly a DC book. This is a new Lobo, and I'm a really big fan of Lobo, and I don't think they've had a good Lobo book in quite a while, or at least not like a series. There was like a one-shot, I think, that came out a little while back. But this is written by Scotty Young and art by Jorge Corona. So it looks pretty cool. I knew Lobo was probably coming back because they're starting to do some Lobo reprints and stuff. But looks really good. I've read a few things from Jorge Corona that I've really enjoyed, and enjoyed his art. And then Scotty Young's writing is always pretty great. So I think this looks like a pretty good team up for Lobo. So I'm looking forward to checking that out. I will most likely be following that series as it comes out. Next, I've got Exquisite Corpses number 11. I believe this is the second to last issue. Pretty sweet cover on that one. Second issue of Night City by Matt Kindt and David Lapham. Big fan of both of those guys. It's kind of a weird cover. Flux House imprint from Dark Horse on that. Lucky Devils, number 7. So I am actually waiting on this one to read it once they all come out, because I think this is going to read better shotgun style. Okay, final issue of Our Soot-Stained Heart. This is number 4. I've definitely been enjoying this series, and hopefully the conclusion lives up to the rest of the issues. I got Wrestle Heist number 4. This is Kyle Starks doing everything. Really been enjoying Wrestle Heist. Definitely a fun book. I'd recommend that one for some light reading. Here we've got American Caper number 5, and I am a really big fan of this series. Last issue, they did not have a Simon Bisley cover, but this one, the Biz is back, and also this guy Chris Anderson is back. He was not on the last issue. It was just David Lapham doing the art. So it's cool to see that was just like one issue where they stepped away from that team, and now they're coming back. A few more here. This is Last Day of H.P. Lovecraft number 5. I think this is also the final issue of this series. Really enjoyed this one, and I'm going to say I really enjoy it, but I really enjoy the art. The art is what does it for me, and we'll be talking about the previous issue in just a few minutes. Geiger number 22. I'm not sure who this cover is by, but Corrado Mastantuono? I don't know at all. Wow. I suck at names, but it's a pretty good cover. Devil on My Shoulder number 4. Probably the last issue of this series. It's a revenge tale. Really enjoying this one. Another Kyle Starks written book. And last new release is Super Creep Show number 1. So I believe there was a different Super Creep Show anthology that was, Super Creep Show issue from this anthology series that was just a one-shot. I think this is an ongoing now, but who knows. Anyway, obviously that's a Spider-Man homage cover. A little sip of water and then we'll get going. Oh, I do have some other new things to show off. Not new releases, but so there's never really any comic conventions in my town anymore, but just recently I found out about one like the day of from a YouTuber pointing it out to me, surprisingly. That's where I got that Frankenstein issue 1. Then last Saturday, one of my students told me the day of, he was like, it was on Saturday, he was at this little comic convention in the Chico High gym, and he said, hey, there's a convention going on over here. You should come check it out. Well, I was at work, so I didn't get to make it over till the last 10 minutes. And there was only one vendor with any comics, which was very sad. And nothing really that special, but one thing I did grab, and he gave me a discount on all this stuff, which was cool. I got 3D Seduction of the Innocent with a Dave Stevens cover. And I was pretty happy to get this because it is usually a higher priced comic. But I came home and opened it up and discovered there's a tear about that tall in the spine on this side. So that's kind of a bummer. But, oh well, I can still read it. I grabbed up this Batman Punisher crossover. I have the Punisher Batman one. I never got the Batman Punisher one because of this. Stupid. Super dumb. But, I don't know. I figured I'm a Punisher completist, so I grabbed it. This was surprising to find in there, and what was mostly just all like Marvel and DC stuff, mostly Marvel. He had a Veronica in there. Veronica number 6. So I haven't actually looked in this one yet, but it's got Martin Emond, Eric Kindt, Edward Lee, Leaf Jones. Sweet. Grabbed a random issue of Legends of the Dark Knight. This is a issue 150. It's got Trevor Von Eden art, so I like the look of that art. It's a multi-part story, so we'll come around to that. Oh, I got 3 issues of Nemesis. I picked these up for Daryl D, actually, because he's showing some interest in that series. I'm going to send those over to Daryl. Major Bummer number 1 from DC Comics 1997. Never heard of this series before, but just the cover kind of caught my interest. It's, oh yeah, it's John Arcudi writes it, and Doug Monk is the artist. Sweet. Can't pass up a New Gods Jack Kirby issue for what was, I think, $2 with the discount. That's pretty cool. I think that's the last issue Kirby did for New Gods. And then I don't ever pick up anything from Doom Patrol, but it was $2, and it was like one of the only like Silver Age type comics they had in there. It's Doom Patrol number 98. So, might be fun. Grabbed a 3-issue Batman series written by Kevin Smith called Cacophony. Walter Flanagan is the artist on this. So, no clue if this is any good. There was another series he had in the box from the same team, and I did not get that one. I think maybe not all the issues were there. But this was just a 3-issue run, so grab that. Got 2 issues of Marvel Fanfare. That's number 3. I think the first 4 or 5 issues of Marvel Fanfare are all one continuing story. So I think I have number 1 and 4, but I didn't have 3. And then I grabbed number 5 as well. And then these last 2 are from Deadpool comics from the Brian Posehn and Jerry Duggan run with Tony Moore. These are Jeff Darrow covers. So I have the first 2 issues, and then I had a trade paperback collecting this first arc. I think the first 6 issues. And then when I went to a little small convention in a neighboring town years back, Brian Posehn was there signing, and I took my single issues that I had to have him sign them, but my friend that went with me didn't have anything to get signed. So I just gave him the trade paperback and was like, here, you can keep this and get it signed by Brian Posehn, and then I'll just rebuy the issues. Well, I've been putting it off, so I just found 2 of them. The one thing I remember Brian Posehn wrote that I got signed there by him was that book, Last Christmas. That was pretty cool. So I also got something to open up from that I got in the mail. This was a Kickstarter, and this is something I definitely would recommend without even looking at it. This is the, let's see, okay, there's a bunch of free stuff in this bag I need to get out of the way so you can see the comic. But this is Death of Power by Kurt Burdick. And this is issue number 8. So I think the next issue is going to be the last one. Maybe he's going to 10, but he did announce the end of the series. So for anyone that doesn't know about Death of Power, this is something that was like kind of initiated from cartoonist kayfabe. Cartoonist kayfabe showed the Death of Superman comic and talked about how bad it was, and talked about how they wish that somebody would make a good Death of Superman comic. So a lot of people, I think, actually did some, but Kurt Busiek's was the one that got the most attention. And the first issue of Death of Power is essentially kind of like a retelling of this fight between Superman and Doomsday, and it is unbelievably ridiculous. It is super funny and inappropriate. And I thought it was just going to be one thing, but then he ended up making a series out of it. And so he's up to number 8 now. It's really cool. And I've backed every single one of them on Kickstarter. He's definitely the most professional Kickstarter guy I've ever come across. He delivers everything super fast on time, and he always throws in cool free stuff. And he always has a special print that you can get if you want to do an add-on. It's like $5 more. So it looks like this time, see, there's all kinds of stuff I didn't expect. Usually the print is something unrelated to his comic. So this one is, why does this happen on camera? Kevin O'Neill's character, fuck me. You know the one. It's going to come to me later. But anyways, two-sided. And then there's this one. So there's 3 of them in here this time. That's really cool. And Superman, after he got the shit. Yeah, actually, they can't say Superman legally. It's a bootleg comic, so it's like Power. So, oh yeah, so here's the, yeah. Okay, so that's cool. So let's see here. The actual issue cover says "Die You Cunt," and then this one is censored, and then on the back it says "Censored at the request of Kickstarter." So they obviously couldn't put that on the comic. So it's evolved into a story. I don't really want to look in this much and spoil it, but it expanded past Superman into a lot of stuff dealing with Lois Lane and Lex Luthor, which are not obviously called Lois Lane and Lex Luthor, but it's super funny and inappropriate, and I think I'm just going to hold off on showing more of this and do a video. Once the final issue comes out, I'll do a full rundown of the whole thing. Oh, cool, there's some little, oh, it's a little zine, or a mini comic of some kind. Oh, right, I think this is, yeah, that's awesome. This is a mini comic version of issue 1. So sweet. So you can get a little taste of issue 1. If I hold it really close, there he is, fighting with the Doomsday guy. And yeah, that's what you're getting into here. Bonk. All right, I'll show it more in a future video. But I recommend that. You know, if you back Kurt Busiek's next Kickstarter, you can do add-ons and add on all the previous issues, so you can just catch up on it that way. Did I give you his proper name spelling? Let's see if it's on here. Doesn't have it on there. Here, I think I have another book of his over here somewhere I can grab. Yeah. The Archaic. Kurt Busiek. That's a good one. Okay. Now, I did get something else in the mail that I really want to show off, but I have something else coming in the mail that's just taking a while to get here. So that's all going to be tied together, and I'll probably make a standalone video for that. Right on to the stuff I read. I'm going to probably go kind of quick because it is late. First up, Escape number 6 came out, and man, oh man, I already did a video on Escape. You know how I feel about it if you watch that video, but this is an absolutely great series. And this one's really cool because our main character, oh, by by the way, yeah, that's just an awesome shot of that car coming in and getting on that razor wire. But our main character is now captured. And so he's being interrogated by the German bat sergeant guy. And the whole thing was a ruse so they could infiltrate his area. And I won't spoil any more, but yeah, the art is just so beautiful in this comic. It's just everything you want in a good comic. Great story, great art, awesome character building, great action. At first I thought this character was a dog. The more I look at him, I think he might be a bear, but what does it matter? He's an animal, and he's done some bad things. So the first miniseries I want to highlight, I really enjoyed. This is called Barnstormers by Scott Snyder and Tula Lotay. And this is a 3-issue series that's put out through Dark Horse, and it's a Comixology original. It's a ballad of love and murder. So this came out in 2023, and it's basically a 6-issue series put out in 3 oversized issues. These are really, really thick issues. They were only $4.99 cover price. I got them for like $2.65 on Lone Star. Actually, this one was $1 on Lone Star on a dollar bin sale. So this is about this this guy named Bix, but he also has his kind of like his performing name, which is Hawk. There's more to it than that, but basically Hawk is his pilot name. So he is a barnstormer. This is takes place right after World War I, and he is trying to drum up some business and get people to fly around with him. So he's having he's calling to these operators and trying to get them to call into the other towns nearby and let them know when he's coming. And Lotay's art is incredible. Look how beautiful he draws people. The girl is super beautiful. This guy is ridiculously handsome. It's very, very classic looking art. One thing about this character is he had some kind of issue in the past where something happened to him and he had to be hospitalized, and he has some mental instability, and he envisions this robot. And when you see that at the beginning of the series, you're kind of like, I don't know, is this really where we're going with this series? It has nothing to do with the series. It's just kind of showing that he has these visions and this instability. So he goes to this town, and I'm just setting up the first issue for you guys. I'm not going to spoil the whole thing. But he's going into this town, and he thinks this big crowd of people is there to see him and get rides in his plane. But they're actually having a wedding, and he's totally ruining their wedding. So he comes in and realizes that he has doused everyone in mud, including this beautiful bride, and everyone is really pissed at him. And so we introduce another character here. This is a Pinkerton. His name is Zeke West, and he is the guy who's going to be in charge of trying to track down our protagonists. So they capture Bix, the guys from the wedding, and they tie him up in this barn, and he manages to escape. And when he escapes, he goes back to his plane, and he finds Tilly, the bride from the wedding, waiting for him on his plane, and she helped him get loose. She undid the cuffs, and she wants to get out of here. So she actually takes the shotgun and holds him up, and is like, "You're gonna get me out of here." So the deal is Tilly's fiance is this guy right here, and her family and his family are farmers, and his family is really wealthy and owns like all these farms, and her family's been kind of struggling. And it's basically their families made an agreement that if she married him, that he would help out and kind of help resurrect their dying farm instead of just buying them out and kicking them off their land. So she wants to get away, and she found a way out with Bix, Mr. Hawk. Here at the halfway point of the issue, you can tell where the next issue would have started. I think it's so cool that Scott Snyder did this and just packaged these things for super cheap. So they're making their escape. And the rest of the story is about these two characters falling in love and also getting involved in some sketchy stuff which leads to murder. So that's why it says right on the cover, A Ballad of Love and Murder. And in the end of this first issue, we now see the fiance hiring Zeke, the Pinkerton agent. And they sneak their way into this fancy gala owned by some rich guy who invented neon lights. So there's like neon lights when they first were invented. And from that point, we follow the characters through a whole bunch of crazy stuff. And there's people hot on their trail. And in the meantime, they're making money performing as Barnstormers. So she starts to get more and more daring with her acrobatics, hanging off the plane, and the crazy stuff they did. I didn't really know a whole lot about Barnstormers or what kinds of things they could do, but it's just a really touching story. Just action-packed, full of really good characters. Scott Snyder's awesome, and this art is incredibly good. I don't know how much interiors Tula Lotay does. She just does tons of covers, but this art's crazy good. So yeah, 3 issues and super affordable, super worth it. Definitely get it. All right, now we'll go for another mini-series. This is a Bad Idea comic called They're All Terrible. And the first 2 issues were from the second wave of Bad Idea. This is December 2022, and I think issue 2 is the following month, or February 2023. The original issues that came out, the first 2, were $7.99 cover price. I got these on eBay. I think I showed these off on my very first video that I got them in a lot. And they are really high quality. They have this spot gloss, as you can see if I get the light just right on it on these images. Unfortunately, what happens, and I'm going to catch a bunch of shit from people because I tape up my comics in bags, and I know people like Damien and Jared Osborne swear off the tape, and I get it. I have had very little tape accidents in my life, and this wasn't really very bad, but this glossy stuff, I believe, stuck inside the bag, and so when I went to pull it out, it kind of stuck a little bit, and then it jerked up, and when it jerked up, the tape caught the cover right here, and I just peeled it off carefully. It didn't damage the paper. It's like a really thick cardstock cover, but what it did was it pulled off some of the gloss. You see that spot right there where the light's hitting it? That is just the gloss peeled off and stuck to the tape. So kind of bummed me out. Well, let's get into this actually cool comic. This is written by Matt Kindt, and this is drawn by Ramon Villalobos, who I really, really enjoy his art. And I knew about him from a book called Border Town through DC that was canceled. But he does the art, and Tamara Bonvillain does the colors. The colors are also great. So this is like a sword and sorcery kind of comic. It's pretty funny without trying to really be a comedic comic. But these characters, the Bloody Mourners is what they're called. These are the bad guys of the series. And they had gone through a bunch of battles. It shows right at the beginning some of their previous battles, and they are just kind of raping and pillaging the land. And so this story is about those bad guys wanting to take out or take down the treasure contained in this kingdom right here that's protected under this big mountain. They have this vault down in there that's full of like all gold, gold and gems and riches beyond imagining. It sits atop a dungeon and treasure of mythic proportions. The village has known nothing but peace for 100 years, untouched by war and famine, its geography alone making it impenetrable to conventional armies. It is ripe for the taking. So this guy overhears the plan, and he wants to kind of spread the word and save the day. So he tries to assemble a crew. He goes and he tells them that they're going to be under attack and that they need to prepare. These people have no army. They have no way of protecting themselves. So he has to go and protect or collect a crew that can help them. And so he goes to get this barbarian guy who's supposed to be the biggest badass around. Well, he ends up getting whooped by this guy. So he ends up taking that guy instead. And I think it's called They're All Terrible because I think all of the people that he tries to assemble for his team are kind of terrible in one way or another, or just not that good at their job. But Villalobos' art is really good. Now, let's just get it out in the open. Yeah, he's really influenced by Frank Quitely. There is no denying that. He definitely falls in like the Frank Quitely, Chris Burnham, Nick Patera kind of school of art. And I love that. I love all those guys. And I don't care if somebody's art kind of looks like somebody else. It's like music. You know, how original can you really be? Everything's kind of been done before. You have influences no matter what. And you can either wear them on your sleeve and be proud, or you can hide behind them and try to be something you're not. And this guy's just really, really good. So these are some of the other members. This woman right here, can't remember what her special skill is. And these are some of the giants that they're going to be, that the bad guys are going to use to penetrate the fortress. There's also backup stories in all of these comics. So this one right here is by Joshua Dysart and Kano. It's the first 7 days. This is about these Muppets who take over the world, basically. There was another backup feature that had something like that in a different issue. Okay, so number 2. It's a pretty awesome cover on that one. Back cover. This is another one of our heroes that joins up the crew. And here we introduce this geeky wizard guy. This wizard that they try to enlist is just lacking in skills. He hasn't been able to get anything to work in years. So he's always trying his spells and they just never pan out. He's also got this, what is it, an imp or something like that. So we've got 4 of them now. And then we introduce this guy who had a really cool backstory. They go into his backstory quite a bit. I won't try to explain it all, but he's mute and he's deadly. There's just a lot of blood and violence in this series, I'll tell you right now. Did I say serial? Series. Okay, here's our swashbuckler type guy. He's like a pirate, kind of an androgynous character. He's pretty badass too. And then we introduce this little girl who, you know, if they bring a little girl on their team, there's got to be something really cool about her. So this is a really fun series. Now, these 2 issues are probably kind of hard to find now, and they're, you know, a little bit more expensive. But what Bad Idea it did was, before they released issues 3 and 4, which came out just recently, so several years later, they repackaged issues 1 and 2 in one collected book. It was maybe $6 or something. And they just put both issues 1 and 2 in that so that you can catch up on the story. So this backup story is Undertow, story and art Jeremy Brooks. This is actually the first thing from Bad Idea I've seen that just really didn't look good to me at all. Just sucked. So first and only thing that I've read that I was like, eh. So yeah, here we go with number 3. This is a new release from December 2025. And unfortunately, they did not stick with the fancy covers. It's just back to regular paper and no varnish gloss on the cover, no cool back image, and it's $2 cheaper. It's $5.99. So, oh, and it's also on the uncoated paper that they've been using. That's, you know, dry newsprint-ish type paper. I think it would have been cool if they would have just sprung the extra money to do these new issues the way the other ones looked for consistency's sake, but they still look great and didn't bum me out at all. So I'm not going to go into any of the next bit of the story. You know, I would want you guys to hopefully see this art, which is phenomenal, and go buy this comic. Apologies if I have been moving the pages too fast. I'm trying to go quick because it's getting pretty late. So yeah, really good series. Issue number 4, the final issue, ended very nicely. I loved the whole thing. Just awesome battles. This whole last issue is a great battle scene with really gruesome stuff. But it's very funny. It's pretty clever. I like it. Okay, now for something more obscure and older. So this is a 2-issue series, and I didn't just read issue 1. I read it a long time ago when I got it, but I got issue 2 a little while back, and I just hadn't read it yet. It's called One Eye Open, One Eye Closed. So this is issue 1. This is from Chiasmus, Chiasmus is the publisher, and it is from 1994. So it's an anthology, and I got these specifically because they have Dave Cooper. And so this is some probably fairly unknown Dave Cooper. This has Jeff Nicholson, Milt Klingensmith, Robert Lewis, Chad Woody, Tony Bajado, Matthew Calais, Dave Cooper, and Ed Lemieux. This first one starts out with the Dave Cooper. So I didn't just read this. I don't remember what this is really about. But this is kind of like that early 90s looking Cooper. It still has a little bit of the feel of his 80s stuff from Air Cell, or his early 90s, late 80s, early 90s stuff. And I really like it. Maybe kind of like the Puke and Explode era. So it's a nice 6-pager from him. And then bunch of other stuff I'm just going to kind of gloss over because it's good, but I don't really remember it, so I don't really want to talk about it and recommend it if it's not fresh in my mind. But various different artists. What I will comment on is the last one in here, which is Increasing the Gerbils by Jeff Nicholson. So this story right here is fantastic, and I will talk about that guy more in just one moment. Issue 2 is the one I just read, October 94. So it starts out with Jeff Nicholson, Jarhead. And this story is something else altogether. This guy puts a jar around his head so that he can keep drinking beer all day while he works and goes about his business. So he fills this jar with beer, and he works in this weird kind of assembly line place where they're doing like graphic design stuff, and it's just bonkers. It's just super, super weird. Here he is filling up his pickle. It's a big pickle jar, and he found out how to breathe just through the carbon dioxide from the beer. This character and this story is all collected in this book through the Habit Trails. So this was also, there was strips from this in Taboo as well. So this is a trade paperback you can get for real cheap on live. It's from Bad Habit, and it's a nice thick collection with this character. Really, really good. Super, super weird. So just wanted to give a shout out to Jeff Nicholson. I don't know much of what else he's done, but this character, the Gerbil story and the Jarhead story, are the two best ones from my knowledge in that series. Then we have Edward, is this Edward Bowman? It says Edward Bowman, but in the front it says Ted Bowman. So I don't know what's up with that. But this is a good one with this devil, and he's going to God's diner. And they're just giving a bunch of crap, and yeah, really good art, like a pointillism kind of style. Really dug that one. Then we have Physics Confused by Brad Foster. This was just like a one-pager. Then here we go with the Dave Cooper. So this is my favorite kind of Dave Cooper art. I don't know how many things he released with this particular, style, but this is from like the pressed tongue era. So this is a wordless 4-pager, 5-pager, 6-pager, something like that. But yeah, look at this art. This strip is about this guy's cooking this meal with these weird things, what the fuck ever they are, who knows. And then it like zooms in on his food, and it shows like in the food there's like a little house, and they zoom in on that house, and there's a little guy working on his house, and he's having dinner with the picture of some woman that's maybe his lost love or something, and he's cheersing her and eating this weird food, and there's the guy working on his house, and stuff's going down. And then you can see him eating it. It's going down. He's got pressed tongue on his shirt. And let's see here. Yeah, so this is them zooming out on his house. So he's in here. Now they're zooming out on his house. And there's his house. And it's on the nose of the girl in the picture. This is very reminiscent of that series Pressed Tongue. It was a 3-issue series from Fantagraphics that I looked for a very long time before I finally got a copy, and or a set, and I'm extremely pleased that I did. It's my favorite Dave Cooper, I think. Some more stuff. Sorrow Tree by R. Lewis. Retirement Plan. Okay, so this last one, this Retirement Plan one, takes up the majority of the issue, and it was okay. It was just really, really fast read. Wasn't that great, but this is a cool comic. I mean, I just showed you the best part, so you may or may not want to buy it now that you've seen it, but hopefully you do, because it's really good. All right. Here is issue 4 of Last Day of H.P. Lovecraft. I'm not going to go into much of the details on the story on this. It's pretty hard to explain, honestly, but every issue, it's Lovecraft conversing with different characters that are real people from his life. And there are 3 authors he's talking to here. Obviously, we've got Alan Moore and Neil Gaiman, and I don't know who this is. So maybe someone could drop it in the comments if you recognize this author. They don't give anyone's names in here, but it's very clear that that's Gaiman and Moore. So that's pretty cool. So this is Jacob Rebelka on the art, if you haven't seen this yet. There is a translator listed in the credits of this series, so I'm thinking this was probably a foreign comic. This artist is Polish, and the writer is obviously from somewhere else as well. But it's beautiful. I think the artwork is dated like 2023 or something like that. It's a gorgeous comic. The last few pages are just these wordless panels where he's following this cat. Oh yeah, we get a shot of Edgar Allan Poe as well. Really good. Okay, this, you know what? Yeah, I'll just talk about it. And this is a longer series I just finished reading that I did not just read all in a row recently. This is something I read over like the last couple of months. I probably just read 1 issue a week over 2 months. And I have to say I was not very pleased with it. It's Dr. Sleepless by Warren Ellis. So I'm a really big Warren Ellis fan. I really like Avatar stuff, and these wrap covers are really, really cool looking. Most of the issues I have the wrap covers. I didn't buy these when they came out. These were something I got in a lot on eBay for very cheap. So the wrap covers are by Raulo Cesires. I've mentioned him on a few videos in the past. Really super crazy detailed artist. This is a really hard comic to describe because I don't totally get it. It's sad when a comic seems like it might be too smart for me. I think sometimes the downside to Warren Ellis is he makes things a little hard to understand to where you kind of feel dumb sometimes. But this is our main character. Oh, credits. Warren Ellis writes it. Ivan Rodriguez does the art, and Andrew Dahlhaus does the color. The color in this series is pretty bad. It's also annoying because this series is incomplete. 13 issues came out and he never finished it, which is unfortunately something that Warren Ellis has done quite a few times, I believe. So this main character, Dr. Sleepless, his name's Johnny. He is like a mad scientist kind of guy, but he's kind of an anarchist, and he's really smart. He lives up in this like mansion in the mountains, and this is in the future, and there are there's a lot of technology and stuff. This came out in 2007, like between 2007 and 2009. So Warren Ellis kind of like envisions where the future is going to go, and in many ways he kind of predicts certain things, but he's basically predicting a world where we're all going to have some kind of implants that link us into the internet, basically. So there's all of this technology that interfaces humans with the web, and this guy is basically out to fuck everything up in this little town. It's called Heavenside, the town they live in. And he has this this assistant, this nurse who always wears this thing with the bra showing. Most of the women in this comic are dressed really skanky. It's like a it's kind of a little bit of what you call it, steampunk, fucking, I'm forgetting the genre. Anyway, issue 2, issue 3, he brings this book into publication that's like a super rare book that is essentially like a book that he believes was the cause of his parents' double suicide. His parents both killed themselves at the same time, and so he is bringing this book that was found in the room where they killed themselves, and he takes tons of copies of it to this bookstore that this ex-girlfriend works at, and he's trying to spread it around, and he's just creating havoc. He has these radio broadcasts. From up here, you can see him up on his tower. It's really hard to describe. There's so much just talking in this series. It's not a lot of excitement. Yeah, I don't really highly recommend this in any way. I wanted to break out all these wrap covers just to show you how good they are, but I'm not going to bother with it right now. You can see the fronts. It was okay. I mean, I can't say I didn't enjoy it at all, but it was just a little too confusing. I also, I spaced them out. I should have probably read them more close together, but I didn't really want to. It wasn't the kind of series that made me want to keep reading it, which is the sign of something that's really not all that great, if you don't want to power through it. But I tend to pick up Warren Ellis stuff just as a rule, at least, creator-owned stuff, not like Marvel stuff. Number 12. And then I just finished number 13. Just to be continued at the end. No tying it up at all. Okay, on to Void Rivals. This is number 27. I do like this series. Not a lot happens in each issue, which is a bummer, but I still like it. We've got the Quintessons and the Sharkticons. There's some 2 double splashes that start out the issue that are pretty great, showing the war going on both of the planets, Zertonia and Agoria, they're called. And we've got Pythonus. She's from G.I. Joe. I remember her from the movie, the G.I. Joe movie. I liked that a lot when I was younger. So, yeah. Not really much sense in filling you in on issue 27, but I'm reading it. Okay, here's some older stuff I read. I read a Marvel Super Action starring Captain America, number 10. This is a reprint of Jack Kirby and Stan Lee Captain America, issue 108. And I don't have much Captain America in my collection, probably only like, 5 or 10 issues of random things, but this, it's Jack Kirby. I got it for $0.25, so what are you gonna do? This was a weird one though. It was inked really thick, really dark. It's the inker on this. It's Sid Shores. I couldn't tell if it was a product of the reprinting, but just it all looked kind of muddy. Like none of the lines, the small lines, were clear. All the hatching kind of bled together on that issue. Okay, so Terror Inc. number 5. I just finished the first arc of this series, and I have to say I am actually really not liking it. I think the premise of the character is really cool. I think Jorge Zafino is a really unique artist. I really like his art style, but I cannot stand the way this comic is written. It's written by DJ Chichester. What he does is he has the main character, Terror's inner monologue going in these yellow boxes, and then he's got the dialogue from people in between. And I just hate when writers do this, when you basically you really need to just read what he's thinking, and then you need to read the dialogue, but you have to constantly skip back and forth between it, and it's long pieces of text that you kind of get out of the mindset of what it was you just read. It makes it highly annoying. And some of the storytelling is pretty bad. Like, some of the imagery, you can't quite tell what's going on. And I still find this art way more appealing than your typical slick art. Like, that's a really cool page. But the story wasn't that good. It was pretty confusing. And like I said, just the way it's written is just not that great. So I have a few more issues of that to read, but I'm not going to collect more of them. Alas, I've reached the end. I've reread the Garth Ennis issues. I read all 58 of these issues over like the last year or so. A couple years. I read it. Actually, did I reread the whole thing? I can't remember. Anyway, I just wanted to dip back into this particular arc, and it's sad that they had to cancel this series because it was just awesome. It's really, really great. So, I don't like the backgrounds in this one that kind of sucked, but yeah. John McCrae's Demon's great, and Garth Ennis' story was awesome, so I recommend it. Okay. I read a king-size annual number 14 of Spider-Man. So, I'm not like a gigantic Spider-Man fan, and I don't have a lot of Doctor Strange, but seeing Doctor Strange and Spider-Man drawn by Frank Miller was highly appealing to me. This comic is from 1980, and God, it smells amazing. Also, it was pretty cool when I read this. It was clearly, I got this from my buddy Nate, who sells on eBay, Grixley. I've talked about him before. He buys a lot of collections and old store stock, and this was from someone's collection or old store stock that had never been read because the pages stuck together at the bottom when you opened them. So, first thing, it's got these little strangely colored boxes put throughout the issue they kind of look like they were like pages from an old book. Look how cool that Spider-Man is. He's like an actual spider. And then Doctor Strange looking pretty gangster. And check this out. Oh, this is Denny O'Neil, by the way. And then Frank Miller draws it, and Tom Palmer inks it. I hope you guys can see this. Check this out. That is Doctor Doom and Dormammu fist bumping. Or about to. See that right there? So guys are going in and pounding it. From their thrones. That is so cool. I love it. Oh man, the art in this was so good. There was unfortunately not enough of the bad guys though. Doctor Doom and Dormammu hatch up this thing at the beginning, and then it just kind of leaves it. It doesn't. It's just on to like Doctor Strange and Spider-Man. But they hatch a plan, and it's, you know, something super evil. But yeah, this art was so good. So Doctor Strange gets mixed up in it first. Yeah, they send out this like cyborg thing to capture him. There's a lot of stuff in this comic where the coloring has no holding lines. Makes it really cool and magical. I don't know, maybe Doctor Strange comics did that all the time. Okay, here is the big money shot for Spider-Man. Look at that shot. That is so awesome. Frank Miller really had it going on back in the day. And unfortunately, I don't think his art has evolved well over the years. So, Spider-Man fighting gargoyles and crazy stuff happening, all kinds of little gremlin-y things. Yeah, he goes to the CBGBs at one point, and there's this rock band with that they're like have like a soldier theme going on. Does a lot of shots of Spider-Man where like you don't see the webbing pattern on his costume, which I think is really cool. Just all glowing red. And the bad guys turn all these people into like mindless zombies that are marching through town to create destruction. And of course, the good guys win in the end. All right, a couple more. Cyberarchy number 3. This is the second to last issue of this series. And I've enjoyed this series quite a bit. That's kind of a nice way to do the logo there. It doesn't really necessarily follow like a clear narrative from one issue to the next. It's kind of standalone stories that all have some reoccurring people in it. But overall, I think this is a pretty fun series. It's not a must-have by any means, but unique art and just kind of creative, but nothing super great. Super great this one is. This is the Absolute Wonder Woman trade paperback for volume 2. So this collects number 8 through 14. So the first 5 issues are by Kelly Thompson with Hayden Sherman's art, Jordi Belair coloring, and then there's another 2-issue arc at the end. So what's cool about this one is it, for one thing, Wonder Woman is got her own little setup now, this place called the Hyron or the Heron. But there's this Area 41, and inside this place they have this character called Dr. Poison, which is an awesome character. It's actually a woman, but she's like made out of gas. And they have her in there experimenting, trying to create something evil. And yeah, there she is coming out of her suit in the gas form. The coloring is really nice. It's just kind of a little bit dark and muddy. But Wonder Woman has to go into this Area 41 down into like these lower depths where there's a maze. So this is the kind of the theme. It's got this like maze cover, ties into this whole thing. And just Hayden Sherman's layouts and panel arrangements and stuff is so creative. A lot of these circular and curved panels that are really neat. So that's her new base, the Hyron. And she has her own little crew now. One thing that was cool in this first issue is these little, Dr. Poison sends all these little bugs, these little robotic bugs out everywhere that are creating havoc. And Wonder Woman's got to figure out how to deal with that. I'm going to try to skip through this a little bit more quick. So here she goes. She's transporting herself via magic, which she uses all the time. I didn't know that she really had magic and used magic. Maybe that is unique to this absolute version. But there she is coming into the maze. And she's trying to save one particular character. This guy right here. He's a good guy. And there's all kinds of evil fishmen and crazy stuff going on. And then Queen Clea shows up. So Wonder Woman thinks that there's she thinks there's an Amazon down in this this dungeon, this maze, and so that's what the main thing I think that's also drawing her down there. Save these people and find this Amazon. She thought Clea was it, but Clea was not it. Clea was actually bad. So the whole premise of this absolute Wonder Woman, you know, Diana being raised in hell, it's just so awesome. It's just a really cool thing. I don't know anything about the regular origins of Wonder Woman, but I like this one, so that's all that matters. So yeah, one of the more interesting things that happens in this is she gets exposed to these flower petals. I'm not finding where it's happening. Let's see if this is it right here. This is basically it. So they attack her with these flower petals that are a powerful hallucinogen, and she starts going on this crazy trip, and everything is all out of control for her. And it's drawn really well. It's super well colored as well. So she's tripping and bad things are coming after her. She can't read what they're saying, or you can't read what they're saying. It's super evil. And yeah, super good story. I won't spoil it or anything like that, but it's really awesome. Then this last story is drawn by Mateus Bergara. It's called The Price. And this one wasn't quite as fun story-wise, but I do like his artwork. I know him from that series Coda. And something is attacking people with this like crazy lightning that just shoots out everywhere, and it's moving all around the world into different places. And she's just going from place to place. So Dominican Republic, Mexico, Hawaii. She's just traveling all over trying to get this thing under control, and she cannot manage to get it under control. And she finally determines that this is actually kind of like her opposite. It's like she's the cause of it. It's this destructive creature. It's here because of me. It's the price the world is paying for me. So it takes on a form that looks like her with her armor and her helmet and stuff. But it's kind of like weird, like bandages with energy coming out of it. And yeah, they do battle. No surprises there. This page was very unique. This ethereal person coming out at her is some kind of absolute version of Zatanna. But you don't really, they don't say who she is. You just can tell because of the backwards writing. So yeah, that was a fun issue. Last thing I'm going to show off here is this absolutely great collection called Bizarro World from DC Comics. So this is an anthology. This was, I think, 2005 or something like around then. 2005. So this is actually the second Bizarro that came out. The first one is called Bizarro Comics. The next one's called Bizarro World. This one's another collection. It's this one I have in hardcover. And so we have this giant list of contributors. These are all indie creators. I'll just list off a few of the highlights. Dave Cooper, right there. Eddie Campbell, Kyle Baker, D'Israeli, Evan Dorkin, Bob Fingerman, Matt Groening, Tom Hart, Dean Haspiel, Gilbert Hernandez, Matt Hollingsworth, James Kachalka, Roger Langridge, Pat McGowan, Tony Millionaire, Paul Pope, Marie Severin, Jeff Smith, Jay Stevens, Craig Thompson, Jill Thompson, Stephen Weissman, Bill Ray. So I'm not going to show this. I just wanted you to know that there was another one. You got to get them both. They're both super good. This is the one I just finished reading. Very similar contributors. I'll just read some of the ones from Volume 2. Rick Altergott, Peter Bagg, Kyle Baker, Ivan Brunetti, Eddie Campbell, Dave Cooper again, Farrell Dalrymple. A lot of repeats. Yeah, Evan Dorkin, Paul Dini, Ben Dunn, Hunt Emerson, Bob Fingerman, Paul Grist, Tom Hart again, Dean Haspiel again, Gilbert Hernandez, Jaime Hernandez, Chip Kidd, James Kachalka, Michael Cooperman, a lot of the same, Tony Millionaire, Scott Morse, Patton Oswalt, Harvey Picar, Don Simpson, Raina Telgemeier, Craig Thompson, Andy Watson, just loaded with great and creators. So this is just like, why can't they just keep doing this again and again and again? It's so fun. All these little stories are so great. All this art is awesome. This one's Scott Morse. And I'm not going to go into every single one, but I'm just going to flash a bunch of this art so you can see how cool this book is. $20 cover price, worth every penny for that amount of money or more even. Look at this. Chip Kidd writes this. Tony Millionaire does it. This Batman and Robin. Look how weird they are. This one is so fun. It's really great. Look at this page. I think this one's about Robin being a little pain in the ass. It's great. Oh, look at this one with the Batmobile. Okay. There's a lot of good ones at the beginning, so Roger Langridge. And so it's just, it covers all different types of DC characters. You know, the obvious ones, and then, you know, some deep cut ones too. This one was really cool. Written by Patton Oswalt, drawn by Bob Fingerman. It's another Batman. Spectre, story Chris Duffy, art by Craig Thompson. So awesome. This one, I mean, a lot of these people I never heard of. In the back here, they have many pages with bios and credits for a lot of the different people. And it's surprised me how so many of them worked for Nickelodeon magazine, which I had never seen that or read it or anything, but it's obviously got comics in it. This one's Jason Youngblood, writer, and Jason Paulos, artist. It's Not Easy Being Green. And this Green Lantern story very much looks like old Mad Magazine art. It's just loaded with just tons of gags. Really great. This Aquaman one was kind of fun. Art by Danny Hellman. Danny Hellman, the guy that made that Legal Issues comic that I just bought? I think it is, yeah. Aquaman just being super pathetic. That was a pretty long one. All right, here's a Batman done by Don Simpson. Look at that. Just ripped and roided out to the max. So great. All right, my man, David Cooper. So this Dave Cooper, oh, and it's story by Johnny Ryan too. This is more of like along the lines of like the Ripple and Suckle and Crumple and stuff like that. But this is super dumped. And look at how funny he draws Wonder Woman all fat. Crazy faces on these characters. Everything is just super wobbly and gross and Just the tiniest feet imaginable. So, I mean, Dave Cooper's art evolved in such a beautiful way. I don't know, it's hard for me to say, like, that I like that 90s style better than this, but it's all so good. Something about that pressed tongue, though, that art I showed before, it's kind of like, it's got, like, the brushwork, the, like, parallel lines you see from, like, the Frank stuff, like, mixed with a little bit of the, not the same feathering as Charles Burns, but like when Charles Burns does the little ink dabs. Looks like that a lot, but yeah. Looks like Woodring and Charles Burns a little bit, but with all Dave Cooper style. It's Supergirl, I think, and Wonder Woman just going at it. So fun. Oh, it's awesome. There's just every one of these is just so good. Harvey Pekar and Dean Haspel doing a Bizarro. All right, just kind of skip. Oh yeah, this one's awesome. Dear Superman, Dylan Horrock story, Farrell Dalrymple art. Really great art on this one. So yeah, I could just sit here and show you this whole book, but, you know, leave something to the imagination. Peter Bagg and Gilbert Hernandez. And it just goes on from there. So super awesome. Bizarro Comics and Bizarro World. You should definitely get these. They're awesome. All right, well, with any luck, my other thing will come in the mail, and I'll be back for another video soon. And I might be picking up another haul as well soon, so check back in for that, and I'll be enjoying my comics. Hope you enjoy yours as well. Thanks for watching.